my God. A mother's love, the strongest force of nature. It's a mother who rears, nurtures, educates, and prepares the young ones to survive in the harsh and unforgiving wild. The bond between an elephant mother and her calf is one of the strongest in the animal kingdom. After a long gestation period lasting between 18 and 22 months, a baby is born. Since the elephants live in a matriarchal society, all the females of the group help nurse the baby. If it's a female baby, she will stay with her mother and her herd for the rest of her life. But male babies leave the herd at puberty. Rhino moms, on the other hand, have to raise their young ones as single parents. Solitary animals by nature, they prefer to live alone for most of their lives. The male and female come together only for mating. A male rhino plays no part in raising its young. But the female is incredibly protective and caring. For about 3 years, her life revolves entirely around her baby. She will not mate again till her calf is ready to leave her and lead an independent life. But what happens when a mother's protection is withdrawn from these babies? Many animal babies suffer this fate during the monsoon months in Kaziranga National Park. As the floodwaters sweep through the park, many of them get separated from their mothers. A few are fortunate to be rescued. Here at the Center for Wildlife Rehabilitation and Conservation, these monsoon babies begin a new chapter in their lives. They are traumatized and under severe stress when they come to the center. Torn away from their mothers and extended families, they have to learn to fend for themselves. They have to learn the basic survival skills without their moms. Ulti is one of the many babies rescued by the center. This baby elephant was born with a genetic disorder. She is missing an upper lip. Her trunk looks all wrong. Hence the name Ulti, which means wrong side up. Life has been doubly cruel for Ulti. Not only did she lose her mother at such an early age, her genetic disorder has made it difficult for her to cope with simple day-to-day chores. She struggles to grasp food in her trunk either from the ground or pluck it off a tree. But life is a good teacher. Within a few months of coming to the center, she learned to use her front feet to help her grasp the grass or other food items. Dr. Panjit, who has seen this transformation in Ulti, is all praise for her courage and fighting spirit.
Most courageous guy among our elephant cubs is the Ulti. She doesn't care any other guy. She is the very bold and courageous individuals among our CWRC elephant cubs right now.
Bali Dubi, the 2.5-year-old rhino calf, also has an amazing story. He was found stuck in quicksand when barely a few days old, hence his name, which literally means stuck in sand. Unable to locate his mother, the team had no option but to bring him to the rehabilitation center. Rhino babies are particularly difficult to hand rear. They have a habit of defecating only at the mother toilet, the place where their mother defecates. They recognize their mother's smell. So when Bali Dubi came to the center, he did not defecate for many days. The rescue team was desperately worried. Things did not look good for the little calf. We are in the Center for Rehabilitation at the Kaziranga National Park. Bali Dubi, the young rhino calf, was rescued when barely a couple of days old, but he was struggling to cope without his mother.
Once they get separated from the mother, they doesn't defecate regularly. So they doesn't get stimulation, that's why they doesn't defecate. Because they have very strong instinct along with the mom. So once they get separated from the mother, they stop defecation. This is the most challenges period rhino hen raising in captivity.
It was touch and go. Anything could have happened during this period, and Bali Dubi had to be medicated to avoid bacterial infection. When I first met him about a year back, he was restless and often difficult to control. But the arrival of more orphan rhino calves to the center seems to have calmed him down. Over the last few months, he has become extremely friendly and responsible. Being the eldest rhino baby at the center, he has taken charge of the rest of the calves. He is their undisputed leader. Being the biggest, he sometimes does manage to corner them out of milk and food. Very soon, it will be crunch time for Bali Doobie. Dr. Panjit and his team will try and get him ready for release into the wild. They are confident that Bali Doobie will do well in the wild. If he can make it on his own in the wild, it will mean one more happy story for our monsoon babies. The rehabilitation center was set up about a decade and a half back with this very objective.
So I wanted to show with this center that any animal, if given proper rehabilitation, scientific rehabilitation, has a chance of going back. Not every individual can go back, but at least we give a chance to the animal. I wanted to show that rescue is only half if you save a life and put it in a zoo. The rescue is complete only when the animal goes back.
Each of these little babies have suffered a traumatic experience at such a young age. Their stories are truly heart-wrenching. Having met and heard the stories of Ulti and Bali Doobie, I think I have heard the worst. That is, until I meet the youngest and the newest addition to the center, Ghora Mara. The rescue team found this tiny elephant calf in a ditch near a construction site outside the national park. His brother had also fallen into the ditch, but sadly, he did not survive the ordeal. Apparently, when their mother came to rescue them, she too fell down the ditch and died. Tiny little Ghora Mara was still trying to suckle his mother 24 hours after. When the rescue team brought him back to the center, he was inconsolable and would not stop crying.
But initial stage, he was crying like anything because he lost the mother. So again, this fellow, I keep William.
While he was struggling to think of ways to help Ghora Mara, help came from a very unexpected quarter.
Very, good combination.
Monsoon is a time for rejuvenation and reaffirming of life. But in Kaziranga National Park, it sometimes brings devastation and destruction in its wake. The rushing floodwaters of Brahmaputra sweep away vegetation and wildlife that come in their way. Scores of animal babies are separated from their families, homeless and helpless. They are at the mercy of elements and deadly predators. Some of them manage to find shelter and a temporary home at the CWRC. One such elephant calf, Ghora Mara, came to the center under severe trauma. Nobody could cope with his distress when help came from a very unexpected quarter.
He lost mother in front of his eye, and he needs mom. He was crying like anything for 8 hours. I could see my own eyes, and that mentally trauma, something like that mentally sick. So in that time, somebody has to help. Even human care may not help. That's why I thought that elephant calf itself also they can help because they are social animal. So I brought Buri together along with this fellow, and they stay together entire day, 24/7, spend time feeding together, staying together, sleeping together. That helps a lot. Now it's look healthy.
Buri herself was rescued from the Bura Pahar range of the park. She had apparently fallen off a cliff and was badly injured. Her hind leg was broken. Chances of her survival were very slim, yet she turned out to be a fighter and refused to give up on life.
When she came here, she couldn't walk properly because she got dislocation in hind leg. And we have done surgery and we successfully treated her within 2 months.
Today, she is fully fit and is leading a normal life. One of the friendliest of elephant babies in the center, she came to the rescue of Dr. Panjit when he was struggling to cope with Ghora Mara. Buri took him under her wings. She stayed with him 24/7 for nearly 2 months, till he slowly returned to normality. The doctors then slowly weaned him away from her. He now has another friend, Sumit. The two are inseparable. Buri, on the other hand, has attached herself to the eldest of the elephants, Dhemaji, who is the leader of the pack. Buri is his second in command. She follows him everywhere. Dr. Panjit is amused and sometimes even surprised to see how carefree Buri is in the company of her friends.
Sometimes she forgot to take milk also because if she get friend, she doesn't care milk also. That is the first cup I have seen in my last 8-year experience that she doesn't bother much about the milk also if they get Dhemaji and other lower cups.
For the moment, these babies seem to be happy and healthy. But their long-term future does not lie at the center. They must return to the wild. So some of the older elephant babies are let out into the wild for a few hours daily. This will teach them to fend for themselves. These are the Monsoon Babies. Orphaned by the floods, they've had a traumatic childhood, but they are learning to cope with it. And each step that they take today on this walk brings them closer to freedom and their eventual return to the wild where they truly belong. Slowly, their hours in the wild will be increased, and Dr. Panjit is hopeful that very soon some of the older elephant calves will be ready to return home. The rhino calves will also be kept at the center till they are old enough to take care of themselves in the wild. The center has successfully released rescued rhino babies into the wild in the past. And hopefully, these babies will also learn to make a life for themselves in their natural homes. Kaziranga has been an incredible journey. There have been a few scary moments on the road. We've been charged by the rhinos and the elephants and bitten by the leeches. But I'm going back with some amazing memories and wonderful tales from this rhino land. Tales of the dreaded bat cave, used by the poachers as a hideout. Of the rhino warriors, the brave keepers of this park. Maya, the wise elephant matriarch. But my personal favorite, Monsoon Babies. Bhuri, Ulti, Bali Dubi. I do hope these courageous orphans return to their home in the wild and make happy and normal lives for themselves. I know for sure that these tales will stay with me for the rest of my life.